In the ever-changing world of technology, business, and life in general for that matter, has become less and less personal. Getting someone on the phone can be challenging, much less meeting them in person. But one of the biggest shifts in business has become online advertising. It used to be that advertising was face-to-face, or over the phone at the very least. But today, many companies have moved to the one-click ads on Facebook and LinkedIn in an attempt to automate the process. Our guest today tells us why that is one process that will never work online. Keep it locked. Part 1 is next.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performance Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy.
Today's guest is Bill Troy, Inc. 500 CEO and author of the upcoming book, CLICKSANDS: How the Pitchmen of Online Marketing Suck You In and Ruin Your Business. Bill has spent his entire career helping global brands such as Sony, Disney, and Nestle see the business landscape from a contrarian's perspective. If you want to challenge assumptions in your business and see your company from a different perspective, you will definitely want to hear what Bill has to say.
Bill, thank you so much for joining us today. I've been looking forward to this interview for a couple weeks now.
It's great to be here. I'm really happy to be here today.
Well, thank you. You know, I'm hoping, I made a promise to myself that I'm just not going to turn this into an hour bitch session, because I know once I get going on this topic, and the audience has listened to me talk about this before, I'm really, really passionate about this. Look, I own a profitability consulting firm, and I see so often clients just wasting money on this new, fangled idea of, hey, let me just build these interesting little advertisements or pay-per-click schemes, and then I just don't have to do any more work again.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work that way. So tell us, the book you just came out with, CLICKSANDS, I absolutely love it. And I actually, thanks, by the way, you gave me a draft copy of the manuscript. It's not out yet. Is that correct?
Yeah, February is when it comes out.
Okay, so thank you for the advanced copy. And also, thank you for making it short. You weren't pontificating. I can't stand buying a book and it's 400 pages and you could have said it in 50.
Yeah.
Just say what you got to say.
Get to it.
Give me the meat. Exactly. And I am old enough to understand the reference about Gilligan's Island.
That's a test. That's like a test at the very beginning to see if you're the right group for this.
Well, I love that. And the fact, I didn't even understand that they did it with oatmeal. It's how they did some of the scenes. That's how they made the quicksand, oatmeal. So anyway.
With a few, like shredded wine corks on top, I think, to make it look.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. So it didn't look like oatmeal. It looked, I don't know.
So why the book?
Well, so I've been, for about 20 years, I've been in the business of challenging assumptions. My original company, Troy Research, that we still have today since 1997, we've been helping companies, challenge and question assumptions in the world before they bring out new products or make changes. And then with Civilis Marketing, we started doing the same thing with smaller businesses and mid-sized businesses to help them figure out what the world really is. Because you go into things with so many assumptions. You have to. You can't start a business without having some assumptions and opinions, and you have to get some reality back from the world. And in the marketing space, just more and more, I kept seeing, my peers, other marketers, just focused so much on this easy, quick, one-click, online marketing stuff. And I realized over time, because to be honest, our business at Civilis Marketing is driven by a parade of business owners that are just kind of tired of what they were sold. I kind of joke around. I say, we're getting a parade of disgruntled HubSpot users, right? Because they went into these things, whatever it is, HubSpot being kind of an example of where it's just going to be a really simple, easy click. We're going to get customers in our inbox. And I decided to write a book not just because it doesn't work in a lot of cases, but because it's actually damaging. And I found that there were so many businesses that were being damaged by this. It's not just benign. It's not just something you try on the side. It sucks business owners in. It sucks their staff in. They end up spending so much time and energy on this because it's shiny and it's a get-rich-quick idea. And they start abandoning what really works. It's like they throw down their real tools and start chasing gold. And man, does it cause a lot of damage. So I said, all right, yes, we're helping people in our company, but we've got to get out and tell everybody about this.
Excellent. So what were some of the distinctions that you found with clients? Where are the mistakes that they're making with all this, pay-per-click, Facebook ads? Are you throwing anything else in there?
Basically everything online these days, I'm kind of throwing into a big bucket. It's content marketing, online advertising, social media, because it's all very similar in that it still has this all built around this idea that it's, people are going to come to you and you don't have to go out and talk to anyone anymore. They're just going to show up in your inbox. And I think there are several sort of big picture things, and I get into a lot of detail in the book. But the big picture is that the first thing it does is it changes the mindset of a business from the idea of building and nurturing relationships with potential customers to more of a adversarial filtering and qualifying and negative assumption about customers, because what they're doing is they're turning all the potential business out there into an anonymous list of people with a certain title or people that search for a certain word. And then you spend all your time filtering and screening. And it starts with this whole negative assumption about the customers that if these people don't click on the right thing or don't open the email, we'll just get more from another list. And what I find is that it starts you down a negative path, and you start feeling, you start treating your potential customers negatively, and you never turn that around to a positive relationship. So you end up alienating the best people that you want to reach out to, and it just sends you down a path that you start changing your business to try to fit what's coming in your inbox through the funnel. And so it's a mindset, first of all. And then the second thing is, and this is what I go into a lot in the book, I talk about what I call pitchmen. I think there are a lot of pitchmen in online marketing these days that are just selling. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's lose weight in your sleep with a pill. It's get rich quick. It's, and we're not recognizing it as that. And business owners are falling for it because they're looking for a system and a process. And I just find that it's just turning businesses almost against their own customers and damaging those businesses when it should be helping them. And the other thing is that the pitchmen know this. I go through a whole section in the book about how they've built this specifically to, when I talk about ClickSand, right? It sucks you in, it sucks you down, it sucks you further in. A lot of the online marketing tools that we use these days are built specifically to suck you in. I have a whole section in my background, as we talked about, is market research. So I have a whole section in there about data and about how there's this assumption that it's data driven, so it must be good, when in fact, the data in online marketing is often so skewed toward the advantage of the person selling you this service that you end up falling for things and following along and choosing metrics that help them instead of you. And there are a lot of things built right into these tools that have very similar characteristics very similar characteristics to casino gambling. Data for data's sake, to get your brain to start seeing patterns that don't really exist, overload of information with decisions you have to make that don't have any real impact on success, like, whether I'm going to roll the dice with my right hand or my left hand at the craps table. I mean, what chair I'm going to sit at the blackjack table, all those kinds of things. They're doing the same thing in online marketing to get you distracted, get you sucked in, and get you focused on activity instead of progress. So I'm on my soapbox now, but that's why I realized, man, someone has to call this out.
Oh, no, get back up there, because I'm not going to let you end there. Now you pre-framed that very nicely. Now dig in for us. Give us the behind-the-scenes view here. What are they doing?
Well, so the data is a great example. Everything in online marketing has some sort of dashboard, data components and metrics, and it all seems great. But remember that the person who sold this to you is also choosing what metrics you should look at. I'll give you a really quick example, simple one. Anybody who's done online marketing or email marketing knows you have an open rate for your emails, right? And whatever it is, 30% or 16% or 42%, whatever the number is. Well, remember that number is positioned as a good thing. And when it goes up, it's positioned as a better thing. And so what they're telling you is 30% of people open this email. But what about the 70% that didn't? And what about the 10 or 15% that were so mad that you sent them this that they actually cursed you, right? You don't see that in your dashboard. You only see the good stuff that keeps you wanting to send more and more messages. This happened the other day just to me. I had coffee with a sales consultant. He's actually a business owner in a consulting world, in a consulting business that has a global name that everybody would know from a sales perspective, sales coaching perspective. So you'd think he'd know sales. We had coffee. We talked about his business, how he gets customers. And we said, let's get together and have coffee again in a couple of months. We'll talk more about this. And it was a great conversation. The next day, I got an email from him in his automated drip campaign that said, hey, we should have coffee sometime. I mean, so there's a professional sales coach who does not realize, and so I opened it, right, because I thought it was from him. We just had coffee yesterday. I opened it. So his dashboard says he had a great open that day, had a great experience. Yet I was so mad that I'm not going to have coffee with him again in 2 months because I realize he does not get what we just talked about. He doesn't get the relationships with people. He sent a note that was completely tone deaf to me and is watching some dashboard and completely disconnected from reality, and he is actually damaging his business. And this is happening over and over and over again out there, but the online marketing system he's using is telling him he's winning and he's succeeding all the time. So he's focused on activity, he's in a little bubble, and he's not realizing what's really happening in the world. And so the data and the dashboards, that's just one thing, but that itself in these online marketing programs, the analogy I use is that's like the processed food industry adding salt and sugar to food to get you to buy more and eat more. It's not in there because it's good for you. It's in there because it sells more food. And that data and dashboard stuff, a lot of it that's in those online marketing programs is there simply to sell more marketing to you, to get you to send more messages or buy more ads, not because it's good for you.
Yeah, of course, we all get these ads all the time. Yeah. It's like, hey, let us help you with this. Let's help with this. I've got great results. And my response is always the same. Great. Tell you what, I'll give you $1,000 for the actual ads or the PPCs, but, okay, you don't make any money until I start making money. Yeah. And for every dollar that I make, I'll give you 25% of it. Yeah. 25%. That's fine. Sign me up. Put your results behind your product. Guarantee it. Look, our consulting programs, one-on-one consulting deals with clients, start at $1,500 a month. If you work with us for a month and then you don't like what you got, we give you your money back. Yeah. So all I'm asking is, and I put this out to anybody, send me a proposal that says you're going to put all of your profit on the line. No one's taken me up on it yet.
It's funny. One of the other things that I talk about in the book is that they know better, right? I mean, this is like the stock tip guy who wants to sell you stock tips. Well, just use them yourself, buddy, and get rich. Right. I mean, right? And so, but one of the things that I talk about in the book is that when I talk to business owners who have bought online marketing in whatever form that was, whether it's, LinkedIn or, digital or social or online, whatever it is, what I find is the crazy thing is they never recognize the thing that they actually bought it from a person. They bought it from someone in their networking group or someone they know from Rotary or some other local agency that's gotten some attention. And they didn't realize that even the online marketers can't use online marketing to sell online marketing. They understand that it's got to be an in-person, relationship-based, primarily an in-person, human-based pitch. I'll give you two anecdotes. One, if you put in $50, right? Put in $50 into LinkedIn and start an advertising account. Your phone will ring in like 30 seconds with a helpful person from LinkedIn who's going to help guide you through spending a lot more money with them. So they have to get a human involved to help you use all these tools they have so that you don't have to get a human involved. So they know what they're telling you. They're doing one thing and telling you to do something else. Then I had another coffee with a digital marketing agency. And they're pretty successful. A lot of people know their name in Central Ohio, where I'm based. And the VP of sales sat there and had coffee with me, and he said, proudly, he said, we've got 80 sales reps out on the streets helping small businesses understand the power and value of online marketing. Like, what? Are you kidding me? And he's so in such denial, he didn't realize what he just said. that it takes 80 people to be out on the street convincing business owners to start using online stuff and not send anyone out on the street. It's just such a crazy thing going on out there. But the online marketers, I put them, when I call them pitchmen, I put them into two buckets. I think it's about an 80-20 rule. I think about 80% of people in the online marketing industry and my peers are people that have drunk the Kool-Aid, that just really think it does work. They just haven't come to reality yet, and they really sincerely believe it. Even if it doesn't work, they keep, like it's just, we just haven't tweaked it yet. We haven't gotten the right long tail keywords, but man, it's close. And then about 20% of the people in the industry absolutely know it's almost fraudulent, that they're just selling and selling and selling to try to make their money and get out of town quick. And those are the ones that understand that they've baked in this stuff with the data to get people sucked in. Those are the ones that understand we've got to have an army of salespeople on the street because we can't use online marketing to sell online marketing. We've got to use salespeople in person to go in and convince business owners. So there are people in the industry that absolutely know what they're doing. And I just thought, come on, man, someone's got to call this out.
Well, most of them have Ferraris and private planes too,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I see the pictures all the time.
Well, and it's I mentioned HubSpot earlier. I don't know if you've read Dan Lyon's book. It's one of my favorite books. I pick it up every so often and reread it. So Dan spent time at HubSpot. He was a former Newsweek technology correspondent. I went to work at HubSpot and talked about working there. And he tells the story of how he did something one day to make somebody mad, and he ended up being sent from the fun upstairs offices with the candy wall and all the exciting, fun, technology things that were going on. Suddenly he ended up finding himself in the basement where there was the, dreary, grinded out call center making thousands of calls a day. Just, good old school, Glengarry, Glen Ross kind of sales operation, the gritty underside of the business. And he realized right then that they knew exactly what they were doing, that they were telling everybody they were doing this amazing new thing. And really they were just running, just a boiler room call center operation. It was just had a facade over the top of it. So people in that business knew what was going on downstairs anyway. And it just doesn't get out enough. And people just believe this sort of shiny, external idea.
Well, I think it kind of all started with, or maybe not started with, but, Tim Ferriss, the 4-hour work week.
Yeah.
Tim wasn't working 4 hours. He was working his butt off.
Right.
It's a great concept, right? It's a great concept.
Yeah.
Work 4 hours and make as much money as you need and just have everything on autopilot. One of the things that we always do is, when we're sending correspondence back or following up, I said, look, please understand you'll never end up in one of our drip campaigns. I just think it's so counterproductive. I had a client, about a year and a half ago, and they had 40,000 customers. These were not, just email addresses, customers. And they had a really nice online business, sold on Amazon. They sold in the fitness industry. Mm-hmm. You could buy a water bottle, exercise band, all kinds of different things.
Sure.
And sales started to level off. So he brought me in and he said, okay, we need to figure out how we can amp up our online, advertising and get more clients. I said, well, how is the return on that working for you? You've been doing this for some time. He goes, it's really starting to diminish. Things are changing. The words are getting more expensive, the whole bit.
Yep.
I said, well, have you called any of your customers? He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you know who your customers are, right? He goes, yeah. I said, do you have any phone numbers for me? He goes, yeah, I got 40,000 of them. I said, okay. When's the last time you talked to him? Why would I talk to my customer?
Yeah, exactly.
That was his response.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, I understand you're selling a water bottle. Okay, you're not selling a jet engine. I mean, each sale is not gonna you're not gonna retire on it. But I said, just today, I said, first of all, do you like dealing with people? He goes, I love dealing with people. I said, all right, you love dealing with people. Make 10 phone calls. Just call 10 of your customers. Which ones? I don't care. Pick 10. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So he did. And he called me back and he said, oh my God. He goes, that was so much fun. It was awesome. He goes, some people thought I was punking them.
Right.
They thought they were getting punked. They're like, wait a second. You're the president of this why are you calling me? And I gave him very specific instructions. You're not calling trying to get business. All you're doing is calling to say thank you. Thank you for being a customer. I really appreciate you. Not the company. I appreciate you as the owner of this company. And if there's anything that you ever need, I just called you on my cell phone. You have my cell phone number. Call me.
What a concept.
What a concept, right? And they were blown away. I said,
Wow.
well, why aren't you doing that all the time? Well, I kind of want to automate it so I can get out. I really don't want to be working, right?
Yeah. Yep. Well, you probably run into the same thing that we run into too, because you're focusing on helping businesses make profits, right? Versus just sales. And one of the things that always happens in this online stuff is that it starts to become least common denominator. And we just see business after business starting to chase smaller and smaller deals. And they're going to make it up in volume, right? And I know that you run into the same thing. You must, that what you're going to find is that some customers are much more profitable than other customers, and they're probably bigger customers, and they probably give them more attention because they're worth it. And so when people start talking to me and saying, yeah, but I need to scale up my business. Well, that's probably not going to happen by getting a million little tiny deals. It's probably going to start by getting a few $1 million deals, right? You're going to start getting bigger customers and moving up the food chain. And a lot of times this online stuff will send you down the food chain where you're chasing minnows all the time. You get no whales through your funnel. And so that's probably a model you see as well. I mean, he probably started to realize that there are customers who would buy a lot more from us if we treated them differently. And what a concept then.
Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.
Be on the lookout for part 2 of our conversation with Bill, where he asks, what is your relationship process? How are you cultivating important business relationships? I'll see you guys on the next episode of Peak Performers Podcast.